3 in the morning, dead asleep, drooling on my pillow. Then bam, bam, bam. Somebody's beating on my front door so hard I swear the hinges might snap. I roll out of bed, heart pounding, no clue if this is a bear or the end of days. Outside, a voice yells, "Sheriff's Department, open up now. You're under arrest." I stagger to the door in nothing but boxers and bare feet, barely awake, only to see 6 deputies standing in a half circle, guns aimed straight at me. The lead guy shouts, "Illegal camping. Step off the property." The property I've legally owned for 3 years. Let me tell you, that's one hell of a way to wake up. Gravel stabbing my feet, the smell of pine needles and cheap cologne in the air, while my own life is suddenly somebody else's drama. And off to the side, in a neon pink bathrobe, arms folded, stands Constance Brightwater, the self-declared queen of our HOA. She's smirking like she just won the lottery and I'm the grand prize. Constance had no idea who she'd picked a fight with. I'm a retired Marine, 20 years wrangling power-mad people in places where authority means life or death. She thought I'd just roll over? Big mistake. You ever had an HOA nightmare? Tell me about it, because I thought I'd seen everything until this circus. Let me back up. My last week in the Marines, my wife decided yoga classes were more fulfilling than my pension. Thank you for your timing, Linda. The same week, my grandpa, Joe, left me 5 acres out here in the North Carolina woods, a chunk of paradise and the only place I ever felt I could breathe. Sometimes you build things because your soul needs peace, not because you have to, Grandpa used to say. So here's Pine Ridge Estates. Sounds fancy, right? Really, it's 47 houses sprinkled in the trees. Folks came here to escape HOAs, and, in the process, invented a worse one. The HOA started in the 80s to patch potholes and stop fence feuds. Then along came Constance, a mix between a DMV supervisor and someone who's seen too many Judge Judy reruns. She's been president for 3 straight terms because nobody sane wants to argue about mailbox colors at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. My land? It's older than the HOA. Grandfathered in, baby. Well, I built my cabin, real foundation, legal permits, solar panels, well water, composting toilet, you name it, I double-checked every rule. The scent of cedar chips and the thunk of a hammer were the only therapy I needed. Then, one Tuesday, I'm installing kitchen cabinets and hear the click, click, click of heels. Constance, in all her stiletto glory, rounds a corner, clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, eyes squinting for infractions. She doesn't say hello. She says that structure violates community standards. No smile, no warmth, just the cold air of bureaucracy. I put down my drill. Ma'am, I'm building on land my family owned before the HOA existed. She reads off her phone. Section 4.7b, no temporary dwellings. I say, it's permanent. Permitted. She gives me this smile like she's picking weeds with her eyes. Thursday, a certified letter lands in my mailbox. $500 daily fines for illegal camping. 10 days, or they'll sue. I'm reading this nonsense on my porch, drinking coffee that tastes like Grandpa's old metallic well water, and thinking, lady, you have no idea. See, in the military, you learn there's always a regulation, always someone who'll twist it for their own gain. You just need to know when to fight and when to flatten them. I call the courthouse. Turns out, not only is my property grandfathered, but it also has its own special rules in the original development agreement. Constance? She never read past the first page. But what really makes my blood boil, she's run this scam before. Last year, she chased out the Hendersons for growing tomatoes, claimed they were running a commercial farm. Mike Torino's house sits empty because she keeps inventing new safety hazards. This isn't about property values. It's about someone who used to make people wait in line for their driver's license and decided she needed a bigger fiefdom. Here's where things get fun. Monday morning, a county truck shows up. Derek Mullins, code enforcement, steps out looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Anonymous complaint about safety hazards, he says. Sure, Derek. Unpermitted electrical, sewage violations, water safety. I walk him through the solar system, show him the permits, the state-certified composting toilet, quarterly well reports. Derek starts realizing this isn't the Chernobyl he expected. But I hear him on the phone, his voice carrying through the pines. Yes, ma'am. We'll handle it. He comes back, eyes hard. Full inspection. All paperwork. 30 days. Grandpa's voice echoes in my head. Always watch when the government shows up. Smart man. In North Carolina, they can't inspect without you unless it's an emergency. Good to know. I go down to the county office. Public records, open to anyone. And what do I find? 3 pages of accusations and, get this, photos taken from inside my property, not the road. Constance has been trespassing for her evidence. That night, I set up trail cameras. Over the week, I catch her prowling the edge of my land, measuring, snapping photos, fiddling with my gate. That mix of autumn leaves and her heavy vanilla perfume, I'll never smell it without thinking betrayal. Records show Constance's pattern. 6 owners in 18 months. Anonymous complaint, code pressure, expensive fixes, eventual surrender. The Hendersons lost their place over tomatoes. Mike's repairs keep multiplying. Sarah Smith, my next-door neighbor, slips me a flash drive with Ring camera footage of Constance poking around at midnight, flashlight in hand. She's asking about your grandfather, Sarah whispers. Turns out Constance was researching a gap in utility records. 3 years Grandpa was in assisted living. She's trying to prove my land lost its special status. Slick. Evil but slick. Friday, things ramp up. Derek and a full team return. County inspector, 3 community safety volunteers. Guess who's their boss? Constance. She's got them photographing, measuring, documenting, while the inspector tries to find a technicality that'll stick. Camera shutters click. Paper rustles. The whole show makes it clear. She's building a case to erase my rights. Her next move? Public health emergency. Tuesday, I'm working on the deck, and here comes Janet from County Health, clipboard clutched like the nuclear codes. Multiple reports, contamination risks, improper water, sewage. Derek piles on. All residences must connect to municipal utilities. I explain, off-grid, fully permitted, state-certified. Janet starts taking photos like she's solving a crime. 48 hours to connect or vacate, she declares. That'd be 30 grand a half a year, best case. I call Steve, my old buddy who works city planning. He cracks up. What they're demanding is illegal. State law protects off-grid permits. File with the state, let them eat that. So I do. Mike Torino jogs over the next morning. Dude, listen to this. He plays a recording. Constance offering to expedite his rental permit if he supports the community's health position against me. That's straight-up bribery on tape. Sarah brings more bad news. Constance filed environmental complaints weeks ago, before any of these code violations. She's telling neighbors I'm under federal investigation, scaring them into thinking their wells are poisoned. That's not just harassment. That's a federal crime. Friday, I file my own counter-complaints. Timeline, evidence, everything. The state investigator sounds interested to say the least. But Constance goes digital. Sarah texts me screenshots from a community safety Facebook group, photos of my cabin, wild headlines about a dangerous squatter. A picture of me loading tools becomes armed individual spotted. Suddenly, I'm a one-man crime wave. Tuesday, the safety patrol marches along my boundary. Constance is yelling about generator noise, snapping photos. Never mind, my generator runs legal hours. Next day, the sheriff's deputy shows up. Noise complaints, sir. I show him logs. He nods, but admits there have been 47 complaints in 6 months. All from Constance. Then Mike brings the big one. Constance offered him $200 cash to sign a statement that I'd threatened him. But she really wanted him to say I was up to suspicious activities. Drug manufacturing? Maybe. All I have is a coffee maker, a first aid kit, and enough tools to build a deck, not a meth lab. That's when it hits me. She's not just harassing me. She's trying to frame me for federal charges. Time to strike back. I file formal harassment and defamation complaints. I sneak into her Facebook group, document the fake comments and outside supporters. Turns out, she's orchestrating a whole online army. Sarah intercepts her offering Mrs. Patterson $500 to say, I buried suspicious packages. That's manufacturing probable cause for a search warrant, one step from disaster. But in her desperation, she gets sloppy. Trail cams catch her, and Timbermax reps marking trees for logging. The HOA records, which my advisory status lets me see, show Timbermax offered $180,000 to clear-cut the community forest. HOA board needs unanimous consent, but plot twist. Grandpa's old agreement gives me veto power over all HOA land sales. Constance's company, CB Property Management, has been collecting consulting fees from the HOA, $23,000 over 18 months. She's been bleeding the community dry while prepping to cash in on the forest sale. That's her whole campaign. Drive me out so I can't block the deal. I don't go nuclear yet. I build a coalition. Sarah digs through financials. Mike confronts Constance about his delayed rental permit, already approved months ago. Mrs. Patterson learns she paid $500 for a permit that doesn't exist. Derek, the code guy, starts realizing he's been played. Next, I call the Land Conservation Trust. They offer to protect the forest in perpetuity for $120,000, less than the Timbermax deal, but everyone gets property tax cuts and grants for community trails. It's a win for everyone but Constance. Trail cameras catch her vandalizing my solar panels at 3 a.m., trying to destroy my evidence. She files a police report saying I damaged them for insurance fraud, while my video shows her in the act. When the deputy sees that, his whole attitude changes. Mike gets another bribery offer on tape, this time $1,000 to testify I buried chemical bags at midnight. She wants a drug raid. Sarah organizes a coffee at the community center. Half the town shows up. Stories start spilling out. Fake fees, bogus permits, discrimination. Harold Smith, 80 years old, says she told him in 1995 his family might not be demographically compatible. The room turns to ice. It's not just money. She's been discriminating for years. Friday morning, I bundle all the evidence: fraud, embezzlement, bribery, discrimination. Send copies to the prosecutor, the state, and the FBI. Saturday, Constance makes her last stand. Calls in a fake threat, SWAT style. Cops, demolition crew, TV cameras show up. The deputy tries to play hardball, but Martinez, the only honest guy left, starts asking the right questions. I produce footage of her vandalizing my property, audio of bribery, records of her fake consulting fees. The reporter asks her for comment. She melts down, screaming about protecting community standards. Mrs. Patterson, Mike, Sarah all come forward with stories and proof. Harold calls her a collaborator. Martinez steps up. Mrs. Brightwater, you're under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, filing false reports, conspiracy to destroy property. Handcuffs click. The HOA votes, unanimous, for the conservation easement for her removal. The new board audits every penny. The county files charges. The forest gets protected. Neighbors cheer, not just for me, but because everyone finally sees what was really happening. 6 months later, the place feels new. Roads repaired, taxes down, kids playing on trails that would have been bulldozed. The new HOA is open, honest, and actually cares what people think. We started scholarships for local kids to study environmental science. My cabin is the go-to spot for skills workshops: solar, gardening, carpentry. Sometimes, when I'm sitting on the porch with sawdust in the air and hammers echoing through the trees, I think about Grandpa's lesson. Build things not just for yourself, but for the people around you. What started as my fight to keep a home became everyone's fight for fairness. So here's what I want to ask you. Where's the line between power and abuse? When do you say enough to bullies who hide behind rules? And if it were your neighborhood, would you stand up or keep your head down? Let me know. Tell me your stories. Because the only way communities get better is when people stop being afraid to speak up and start building something together.